Hooray! Congratulations to you if you made it to the stage. Now, we're about to learn how to get data from form. How do we get data from form? What is a form? Of course, when you want to log in into Facebook or log in into any application, you have a front end that provides you an interface to enter your name, your username, etc. So how do we then get the data that is being entered from the front end? And that's what we're going to quickly be looking at. So the data we get, I want you to understand that the data we get from the front end must be stored in form of JSON, which means JavaScript object notation. JavaScript object notation. So whatever form of data we are getting must come in form of what? JSON. And for that, I have to tell Express that, hey, please accept JSON data. So how do I tell Express? Now, right here, I'm going to say express.json. So I'm simply telling it, hey, accept JSON data. That's what I'm telling it to do. So I'm asking it to accept JSON data. Accept JSON data. So we always get our data from front end through JSON, but we have to indicate that we want to get this through JSON. Now, you can see I'm doing it at the top here. I'm making this at the top here. I'm not placing it beneath this. So it's always right, because once the data is coming in, so this is where to get to before I'll be making use of the post. Now, the post request is actually where I want to concentrate on right now. I want to be able to get something from the front end. And for that to also work, I need what is called a body parser. So a body parser must be installed so that I will be able to get whatever I have from the front end. Don't forget this one, this Express actually allows us to get the data in form of JSON. Why the body parser is going to allow me to be able to read what is on the front end, whatever the user is entering. So that is what we want to quickly look into. So let's move on and install that. Now we'll go to Node Package Manager. If you don't know Node Package Manager, just go to npm Node Package Manager. This is a URL, or you just type on Google Node Package Manager and it's going to take you there. Now the Node Package Manager, you have a search. Type in this keyword, body-parser. So if you are having two words joined together, you always use the hyphen. If you're coming from the background of CSS, you understand that. So this is the package that we actually need. Why am I showing you this? I would have gone ahead to do this. Now I'm showing you how to do this because as an engineer, you must be able to read and understand documentation. So the nearest future, this might not be there, or something must have changed. How do you wrap your head about it? Or how do you go about it? So that is the reason why it's also good for you to be able to read documentation. And this is the one we need. So let's hit this and see how we can be able to install it. Now they're going to give us rules and instructions or instructions of how we can install. So very simple, you can see npm install body parser. Even if you're not told, the name of the package is body parser. So just do npm install body parser and right away. So I'm going to open another terminal. So I'll hit this so that one terminal can be running and I can also be installing whatever I want to install here. So body parser is being installed. Let's go further to read the documentation. So under the documentation, blah, 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 the parts that we actually need is where it is used, an example of how it is used. So let's go down. You can take your time to read more of those documentation, but for the sake of this lesson, we're just going straight to where it is what used. I think that should be somewhere close to this. So let's go down. Yeah, this is what we actually need. So how do we get this? How do we get this to use? So this is what we do. The first thing that we try to do is to, import the body parser, of course, which we're going to do and store it in a variable called body parser, even if we are not told that. We should know that once you install it, a particular package, you're going to, require it. So let's go to the top and require this. So up here, we can require the body parser. So, and we're going to change this to const. This is the old. So let's change it to const. And right now, what else? We have to create a middleware, right? Now, we've been taught, I know some of us might not know what a middleware is, but what is actually a middleware? Now, just look at it as the name implies. this is what you do to create a middleware. Now, anytime you see a program that says app.use, it means you're creating a middleware. A middleware is actually a program that runs before the main program runs. Just imagine you want to go into a building and you're seeing receptionists before you can go into a particular office. So that receptionist is acting as a middleware. So in a case like this, we also have the middleware. So where do we place in middleware? Now you can see these are all the RADS parameters. So make sure the middleware is placed after the JSON, right? After the express.json, before this RADS parameter. So let's set up that middleware. So this is middleware. So app.use. Now app.use, if you remember, the name of the variable we created was body parser. So when we say app.use, and which is a method, the app.use then take in the body parser.json. And that is it. So once you have that, the next thing for us to do, let's see. So this is how you read, documentation. Very important that you know how to do this. So you can see, you can write a function, you can even set the header type, you can set the response, the header, you can write, and you are good to go. You can end. So there are a lot of things that you can actually do to whatever you're doing. So if you're sending app.use after, you can put in some functions that you want. So all that, I don't think we will need all that for now. Just for the sake of simplicity, we look at the post. Very simple. What else do we bring in? Now, don't forget that we created a variable. So we're going to be creating an application in this form. So just copy this again, which is needed. And that is our extent. That is another. So let's paste it here. So that is the URL encoded. So we want to get the URL encoded. So we say the body parser that we brought in, .url encoded. Then we said extended must be what? False. So we can just change this to const. I think that is probably going to be the last thing we will do. And after that, we should be good to go to use whatever body parser we want to use. So the body parser, we brought it in. Now we want to start using it. Now in the old form of JSON, what's it called? Of Node, you have to bring in this URL encoded. You have to bring it into the applications, but that is no longer invoked. You can always create your post request without the URL encoded. So this is what I'm talking about. For example, we want to go into app.post. This is a user. Then you can say the JSON parser. This is a middleware. Or before now, you can do this URL encoded. You bring it in before you do take the anonymous function. But these days, you don't necessarily have to put this URL encoded. Is that okay? So it's no longer needed. They are yet to update that. Is that okay? Now, that does not mean that if you use it, you're going to get an error, but you may decide not to use that anymore. And for that reason, if I'm not using this anymore, so it means that this is not also needed. Is that okay? So I may decide not to store it in a variable here. Is that okay? Decide not to store in a variable, but I can use this like this. But I'm storing it in a variable, but I'm not using it inside this function. So this is just to fire up everything that you have in here. So that is exactly how it works. Very simple. I know this may look a little bit difficult for you because you're just coming in here for the first time. The Node Package Manager is a very simple stuff, and it gives us the ability to be able to read and read some of those documentation. So let's end this with a semicolon. And then always try to end your program with a semicolon. If you don't, it's still going to run. But when you're doing other programming language, like C#, PHP, and you don't put a column at the end of it, then you're going to be having a very big issues. So this is it. We are setting up the JSON parser, then the URL encoded. So the app.use JSON. So you can see that is what we are actually getting here. I think I actually put this in the wrong place. Okay, let's see that if that is actually in the right place. Okay, the JSON parser after using that, and we are good to go. So let's try to get something from the front end. So we are making use of the post request. I think that's what we're going to be doing in the next class. Thank you.